What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a dose of Pokemon. Today we got to talk about Black Bolt and White Flare and this whole thing going around the internet saying, oh, this set is going to be short printed. No, there's nothing like that. There is no such thing as this set being short printed. All right. And PokeBeach did come out about a week ago with a good article. So let's go over this article and let's talk a little bit more about it. So Black Bolt and White Flare will experience severe shortages, but the Pokemon Company International is now catching up. So PokeBeach does receive word that the set and the allocations will be much less than Prismatic Evolutions. Most stores will receive no products. This is according to one of the Pokemon Company International's biggest U.S. distributors. So here's the thing, where it says most stores will receive no product, you do have to take into effect that because of like the demand of Pokemon right now, and a lot of people are trying to pick up some cards from stores and whatnot, and there's this whole craze going on. A lot of stores that usually wouldn't even sell Pokemon cards are trying to pick up Pokemon to sell in their stores. And for example, like I went to Speedway the other day, and I saw two booster boxes, like two open booster boxes, selling individual packs for $5.99. Normally, I would never see Pokemon cards at a Speedway, but there was two booster boxes there, opened and ready to sell, just the packs. You can pick up the packs and buy them for $5.99. But here's what I have to say about this: like when it says most stores will receive no products, that makes sense. Because those extra stores, those stores that normally wouldn't pick up Pokemon cards that are now picking it up, those are now in the equation. So it only makes sense that, because of how much Pokemon is printing right now, it is not going, those stores will not receive. And that's not because of the short print. Pokemon is working 6 to 10 months ahead. So they already, printed whatever they needed to with Black Bolt and White Flare way before. And, it's looking to be much less than Prismatic Evolution. The allocations will be much less. So if a store receives like 100 booster boxes, maybe this time they'll receive 50. You don't know the exact amount, but just to give an example. But PokeBeach does say there is also good news on the horizon that may explain why this is the case. So following their initial print runs, the Pokemon Company has been busy reprinting items like Surging Sparks booster boxes and Prismatic Evolutions, and we've seen this. They've already started to arrive at stores in the US. The new supply isn't as large as the original print runs, which makes sense, but it's still a sizable amount. Prices on the secondary market are already dropping. We have already seen that too. Prices are dropping throughout the board. As usual, this new supply will trickle down through store supply chains over the coming months, and it will depend on distribution chains how often new supply will be sent to stores. This latest information lines up with news in March that more Prismatic Evolutions and 151 products will be arriving at GameStop this month. So that does make sense. As PokeBeach did point out before, it usually takes, again, Pokemon Company around 6 months to respond to demand. So this whole demand thing really started with Surging Sparks. It released in November. 6 months later, we're getting more Surging Sparks product. So Prismatic Evolutions, they saw demand and they're still printing more. So we're going to be seeing more, and I'm actually going to show an article about Prismatic Evolutions once I kind of wrap this up. The Pokemon TCG has seen unprecedented demand since the release of TCG Pocket that also released in the fall. And currently, they're printing future sets at maximum capacity. And they released this statement around I think late December, early January. So that kind of lines up with after Black Bolt and White Flare. So it looks like they're going to be printing the future sets, which means the future sets after Black Bolt and White Flare at maximum capacity. It's likely that the Pokemon Company will eventually catch up with demand for Black Bolt and White Flare as well. So here's the thing. There's a lot of demand. The supply essentially has been the same because while the set was being printed 6 months prior to all, with this craze going on, when they were printing, they probably weren't anticipating this much demand, so they only printed accordingly. So there isn't really necessarily a thing called being short printed. There's just more demand. The print is actually the same as it would have been if there wasn't demand. If it was just regular demand, just like you go to a Target and Walmart, you see cards just sitting on the shelves. Like if we were at that point, then no one would be saying like, oh, Black Bolt and White Flare were short printed or anything like that. Now, again, they're going to eventually catch up, hopefully, with the demand for Black Bolt and White Flare. It's a special set with multiple release dates. Multiple products will be releasing in the summer, so Pokemon Company can release additional product over a longer period of time. So, PokeBeach then goes on to say, if you're a Pokemon collector, it's always best to be patient for new product. Yes, don't FOMO, don't fall into the fear of missing out. Like, put that aside. Just wait. Product will become available. Never give in to FOMO. He even says it, never give in to FOMO. Never pay scalpers for products. If you don't pay scalpers for products, you don't pay for that 3 times, 4 times price, then yes, eventually those scalpers, they'll exit the hobby. Pay attention to the short term, of course, but remember, collecting is a long-term goal, and that's what we're here for. We're here to collect. We are here to collect and grow our collection. Long-term goal. But let's go back to one of the articles I want to show you guys. So here's the thing. Prepare for Mayhem. Prismatic Evolutions bundle is coming to Costco. And seeing this is showing there isn't a short print. More so, there's just demand, and they're trying to keep supply up. If it was a short print, essentially, like they would say like, okay, we didn't print enough. Like we just didn't print this set. We're not printing that much. But no, they probably printing at normal demand. And once demand spiked because of the release of TCG Pocket and a lot of people getting back into scalpers, seeing that prices are rising, this is my time to get back in and make a quick buck. Then yes, Pokemon Company couldn't obviously keep up with that demand with the current supply they had, so they're trying to print at maximum capacity. But Costco, they've preloaded a new Prismatic Evolutions bundle to its website. It's not public or available to purchase yet, but within the next 2 weeks it will be. The price isn't known, but there's been rumors surfacing around this bundle being $120. It's going to come with 2 Prismatic Evolutions Elite Trainer boxes and 2 booster bundles for a total of 30 packs. For online purchases, there will be a purchase limit of 1 item per membership per day. Now, it's unclear if it's going to be offered in stores. To be honest, it's going to be crazy if it is offered in stores. People are going to be running after this, especially scalpers. So, I don't know. Scalpers have been clearing them out in order to flip them for higher prices, especially with the 151 products. The Pokemon Company has been sending out older products from 151, Surging Sparks, and Prismatic Evolutions to catch up on the recent demand of the TCG products. And this has led to initial shortages of Black Bolt and White Flare. Again, it's not being short printed rather than just not being able to produce the current supply. That's all it is. Like if they were being short printed, we would know. They're not really being short printed. And yeah, prepare for mayhem. Yes, I agree with that. It's going to be crazy. So that's what I have to say about Black Bolt and White Flare. And I think, once this entire craze kind of slows down, we're not going to have this conversation again, oh, these sets are being short printed or anything like that. They're being, printed at a decent amount. It's because of so many people are trying to pick this up. People that don't even know about Pokemon. Again, these scalpers, people that don't care. They're just in it to make a quick buck. Like you're going to see I guarantee a lot of people who are picking up this binder collection outside of, the Pokemon TCG hobby, those who collect, pick this up and resell it. A lot of those people don't even know the Pokemon on the packs, on the artwork. They don't know any of those Pokemon. They probably can't name them. A lot of them, yes, there are. Maybe there's definitely some Pokemon collectors who are also selling. They probably have a Pokemon card business. That's completely okay, and they're probably selling. That's fine. But they're doing it long term, and they're also collecting this and that. But for a regular collector like you and I know the Pokemon. Granted, I'm not too familiar with Gen 9, Gen 8. I remember most of the Pokemon names, but look, I grew up with Pokemon. I've been in Pokemon my entire life. Like it was with me from my childhood to now, and I've been playing the games, keeping up with the TCG. I play Pokemon Pocket. I still have Pokemon Go. Like I don't play Pokemon Go regularly, but I play here and there. I'm playing TCG every single day. So it's like I'm playing these games. I know what the Pokemon are. I know what it's about. if I was talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, I know a pretty decent amount, not as much as Pokemon. But if you told me, hey, Magic the Gathering, and there was this whole Magic the Gathering craze of prices skyrocketing, or Lorcana or One Piece or whatever, I wouldn't even know where to start. I'd have to kind of follow along what's going on online and what should be bought and be sold. Essentially, if someone asked me about One Piece or again Magic the Gathering, I probably wouldn't even know. And yeah, it's it's unfortunate, but hopefully, it doesn't take too long. This one comment says it doesn't take too long, so scalpers can't crash the market. Well, this comment says, unless they completely flood the market or give all the product to places like Target that don't triple the price, it means nothing. Scalpers sell and scalp because local game stores can triple the price. They're the first person to screw you over, and scalpers follow. Pokemon has to print so much that it sits on shelves for months. That's what had to happen during COVID. Printing more in small waves is just LGS doing this with longer product. Yeah, I see that. I see that in a way, like, printing more in small waves. Honestly, just print it all at once. It would be awesome to find, the entire shelves full at Target or Walmart. Like, you can't go to your Target and be like, oh, there's, some product on the shelf right now. I'll come back in a week and pick it up. No, because you come back in an hour, you come back in 30 minutes, it's going to be gone. So whatever you pick up right then and now is what you pick up. Another comment says most stores will receive exactly 0 product, huh? Why print an 800 card double set if you can't even print a smaller single set to stock? Kind of makes sense. This company is a joke. This is a pretty long comment. I think I actually read this. What idiots, they could delay the final release until they have ample supply, but no, they choose this shitty method of releasing product in short supply. Yeah, I mean, there's so many sets that come out. It's actually really hard to keep up. It is time consuming, and it obviously is expensive too. But it's so frequent. Like, it's really hard to keep up. I'll sniff around the hobby again in a couple of years. Until then, I'll keep on building Gundams. Pokemon is dead to the casual consumer. Thank you, scalpers. He's not wrong. In a way, there's a lot of casual people, consumers, that just like picking up cards, opening packs, and competing, playing a game, and building decks and things like that. Honestly, I'm checked out of the hobby. All right, yeah, a lot of people are. Unfortunately, this is just I kind of wish it was the scalpers leaving, not the regular consumer, people who are in the hobby. If this is good news, we're in a lot of trouble. Prismatic ETBs are 120 plus, and nothing is readily available at most stores. From zero supply to zero supply. Yeah, pretty much. But all in all, like, it's not that there's short print. It's just there's not enough supply. Does that make sense? I can differentiate, like, being short printed and not having enough supply. Like, Pokemon Company might think at the time before all this craze happened that the supply they were, the print they were putting out was regular supply. That's their regular supply. They didn't know demand was going to skyrocket. So that supply is the same. It's not like they're taking away from printing a million, let's say a million booster boxes. Just a random number. Let's say their supply is 1 million booster boxes and demand goes up. So that means, there's going to be a shortage of supply because supply can't meet that demand. But if the demand was low too, like the demand did not go up, they were still going to keep that 1 million when they first released. And now that they see that demand, they're kind of falling months back, in backwards. Like, they're falling months behind to catch up with the demand. Or also supply is essentially still the same. Don't support your LGS is probably the biggest take I've heard. Don't support the ones scalping, of course, but realize that they have to battle these scalpers as well. Support your stores who are ethical with their pricing and try to stop scalping. I agree with this. I do agree with this. Patience is a virtue. Again, yes, we just got to be patient with all this stuff. And there's a bunch of comments that go into it. But essentially, look, it's going to come down. The prices will come down eventually. We just got to be patient, and we just kind of wait for it. We're going to have to wait for these products to drop in price. But we're here long term. I'm here long term, and that's why I'm making these videos, just to share my journey, my thoughts, and everything going on. but we got to do this long term, and I hope you guys are all in it as well for long-term collecting. But I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any specific content you'd like to see. That's been it for me. We're getting ever so close to 1,000 subscribers. At the time of this recording, we're at 800. Thank you all so much for subscribing, for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in the next video.